Hello, my name is Laura Magdalene Eisenhower. Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be here. A little bit about my background, so we can go to the first slide. I have researched, experienced, and investigated exopolitics, hidden agendas, alchemy, and our galactic history, and have been on a mission that goes into this deeper energy terrain ever since I was a child. Nature has been my teacher, and it has helped me to see the difference between our soul journey, our multidimensional nature, and the artificial matrix and control agendas. We cannot deny weather modification and the spraying of our skies. All we really need to do is look up at the sky to know that something is very wrong. We are also dealing with the Fukushima disaster, genetically modified foods, false flags in the news, media control, mind control, and possible fake alien invasion scenarios, and the threatening controlled collapse of the economy, martial law, FEMA camps, and the chipping of civilians. These are all threats to us. The organic timeline is what they want to keep us from, and it relates to an inner shift and reawakening of our divine template and DNA potential. Artificial timelines relate to government and ET treaties, and also technologies that were put in place 26,000 years ago to create disunity and to enslave souls. Much of these darker agendas originated even before our current planet was fully formed, and that are now here on Earth, as this is the second creation after intense galactic wars and the downfall of advanced civilizations. They have created the control system that we are now in to ensure that we stay limited to a 3D existence. And also so that healing doesn't take place for the negative ET groups who want to maintain power. It is to interfere with true spiritual marriage, which is what we need to get in touch with. They know this balance and unity is all we really need. This originates with fallen seraphim and Elohim wars, Lucifer's rebellion, the Anunnaki, and the goal of a new world order. Anunnaki is a mix of beings from different star systems. Luciferian faction are the negative ones, and so are the Dracos. They were the original warring race that first attacked Lyra, the Lyra star system. And the Lucifer and Yahweh Jehovah energy represents rebellion and the need for law and order. The ET government treaties originated with Roosevelt, Crowley, Hitler, and Eisenhower. The Pleiadians and Greys made offers to both Hitler and Roosevelt, but the Greys and Reptilians were sided with. So we have two opposing sides as one larger control network within the shadow government, the Illuminati. It propagates war to keep us conquered and divided. And there's infighting within that we are caught in the middle of. There is much history to share about these races, including a planet formerly called Apex in Lyra that became the Zeta Reticulum. Not all are harmful, but some have joined in with the service to self beings when they destroyed their own world due to nuclear war. They were turned into short grays after being forced to go underground. This destroyed their reproductive abilities, and so they used cloning to reproduce. We are seeing a similar scenario play out here. The Zetas and reptilians supposedly were the beings involved with engineering the Nordics on Rigel into the tall whites. We hear about the tall whites working with our governments from folks like Paul Hellyer. They want to stop our ascension through misaligning the Earth grids. The Nordics who were able to flee this infiltration have been trying to help us. In 1926, the Zetas from planet Apex began interacting with certain factions of several Earth governments. Several projects by Zeta Dracos were intent on destroying Earth's grid vibration rate to stop us from evolving or ascending. The Zeta were involved with Atlantis and for a time with colonization of Mars. This is from Keylontic Science. Whistleblower William Cooper, who wrote Behold a Pale Horse, shares something similar. The first thing that they did, the Draco Greys, was subtly infiltrate all strata of society and used implants to exercise mind control. Then they systematically eroded the collective soul matrix and assimilated the population into their group memory complex, effectively replacing the soul history of the population with their own memories, turning them into drones. Morgan Martel discusses on his website about Project Paperclip, which took place after the Second World War. One purpose of the operation was to inhibit post-war Germany from redeveloping its military research capabilities. One of the fields that Nazi doctors and psychologists had made advances in was that of social and behavioral engineering in humans, also known as mind control. The Greys made deals with Roosevelt and Hitler, but the deals were different. The Office of Strategic Services had already been active with Operation Paperclip for over 3 months before Truman gave the order, and many Nazi Party members had already entered the United States. So the OSS resorted to whitewashing the histories of Nazis, or sometimes even creating entirely new identities, which made it easy for them to spread their influence in America. It has been said by the whistleblower of M16 that the CIA was created almost 2 years after this, and the American National Security Act of 1947 to handle the massive number of mind control, cloning, and other covert projects that were born from Paperclip. MJ-12 was also created as a group dealing in ET investigations. This was also the year of the Roswell crash, and where the extraterrestrial biological entities came into the picture that helped us to make contact with their race. The Bilderberg Group was created in 1952 to take the decision-making about the alien problem and other international issues out of the hands of governments. Over the years, the Bilderberg Group evolved into a secret world government. By now, it's almost entirely populated by the Illuminati. By the time Eisenhower stepped into office, the draconian system had already infiltrated the 3-letter organizations, and eventually defense-related projects got infiltrated as technology exchanges took place. Montauk is one example. The amount of mind control projects happening is staggering. In 1954, a treaty with the Greys was reached after an agreement could not be reached with the Nordics. Whistleblowers have said that 4 different races were present at the secret meetings. The Nordics, alien greys, a humanoid group with at least some 9 feet tall and a race that was reptilian in nature. The greys have been viewed by some as future human selves. For more details about these treaties, you can read a paper I presented in Italy that can be found at my website, cosmicgaiasophia.com. Remote viewers who tried to discover where the greys are coming from mentioned that they are coming from 3 different time eras and that most of them are coming from different times in the future. Some authors believe greys are not aliens, but future humans or future humanoids, many who are under reptilian control. Dan Burris talks about this and calls them P45s and P52s from the future. According to the ex-operative of M16, the treaties are renewed every 10 years. If these statements are true, this is what the backdrop is, which potentially validates the meetings with ETs that took place in the Eisenhower administration in 1954. According to Gerald Light, who whistleblowers like William Cooper have said attended the meeting with the Nordics, said that following the 2 alleged contact experiences, Ike apparently intended to accept the angelic offer presented by the Nordics. The defense establishment's concerns of a Cold War era pressured him to change his mind. The interests of war won for a time over his desires for world peace. This is where the warning about the military-industrial complex comes from, as MJ-12 and the shadow government completely took over control no matter what orders Ike commanded. From a book called Spacegate, The Veil Removed, it is suggested that the Bilderberg, the Council on Foreign Relations, and the Trilateral Commission are the secret government, and they have their hands on all the alien technology and run their show through MJ-12. This is where the real shadow government exists as one big operation that continues to spread its tentacles. Eisenhower didn't trust them and so set up a unit in the U.S. Marine Corps, and he also warned us in his final speech. This agenda was pre-planned in order to establish the Armageddon timelines and sabotage our ascension. Alternatives 1, 2, 3, and Mars. When President Eisenhower was in office, he commissioned a secret society known as the Jason Society in 1955. It's considered to be a branch of MJ-12. That Truman established while in office. The Jason Scholars was created to sift through all the facts, evidence, technology, lies, and deception, and to find the truth of the alien question. Alternatives 1, 2, and 3 are 3 agendas recommended by Jason Society scholars and are related to different scenarios to prevent a possible future doomsday that is more than likely induced and not natural. The first alternative is about the use of nuclear devices to blast holes in the stratosphere from which heat and pollution could escape into space. The second aims at building a network of underground cities and tunnels in which mankind's selected elite could survive. And the third deals with a secret space colonization program on Mars with the same purpose. Phil Schneider mentioned that there are 131 deep underground military bases in the USA. Others have mentioned 4,000 worldwide. On the Zeta Talk website, it says those connected to Alternative 3 are service to self Zeta Grays. So through much patriotic programming, they have managed to convince many well-intentioned people that it was in our best interest to move off planet, as a deeper hidden government had something else up its sleeve, more related to creating a catastrophic timeline purposefully. To thin out the population and begin the creation of a transhumanism world. Now we can see how the recommendations of the alternatives were influenced by the shadow government and off-planet beings, since there is no way we would be able to come to these conclusions on our own or possess the technology to get there without their input. It has also been said that they want us to be on a catastrophic timeline so that we are more easily controlled for their plans of a new world order. This agenda didn't start off this way, but it got infiltrated along the way. Alternatives 1, 2, and 3 got infiltrated and corrupted. Manipulation and total takeover by the shadow government. This was not Eisenhower's intent, so he legally signed into law the USMC Special Section to watch MJ-12. He's a whistleblower. There was also an ethical super soldier program to balance the situation called Project Moonshadow. They stopped supporting Alternative 3, and they are now allowing full disclosure. They have advanced technologies like time travel and teleportation that are not being used to protect us at all or help those in need or clean up the environment. Instead, they are being used for black budget projects that use millions of lives and millions of our tax dollars. For some, the use of these is for our defense, but with all the criminal activity and infiltration that has happened, secrecy doesn't serve anyone, even if the original intent was to protect us. There seems to be a theme related to the survival of certain races, the harvesting of souls, the siphoning of our vital energies, and the Greys trying to create a soul matrix for themselves through hybridization, since in the future they digressed and lost their soul energy and ability to reproduce. There is more than one type of Grey. Some of them could be us picking up our own genetic material to save ourselves. It really depends on the choices and actions we take now. There is a chance that we could turn into Greys as our soul energy gets further away from us and be ruled by the reptilians, but not if we focus on our spiritual development and bring balance back to this earth. Many higher races are doing this and have done this. In 2006, they attempted to recruit me into a hidden operation regarding the Alternative 3 colonization of Mars scenario. Project Pegasus pre-identified me, but I was not a participant. This project included teleportation to Mars and time travel, but the super soldier projects and mind control projects are more numerous than what we can possibly comprehend. Compartmentalism keeps anyone from really being able to see the larger picture. My targeting included plants, tracking, and invisible weaponry. I declined to go to Mars because I believe the power of the human spirit, our connection to this earth, and our unification as a race is going to carry us through. Our connection with our own higher consciousness and higher dimensional ET races and their advanced technologies that are in harmony with nature. We are going to go to the stars, but we need to take care of this planet, or we will keep taking the same problems and dilemmas to other worlds. We need to be the ones to stop the patterns. ETs are among us. Valiant, Thor, and other beings from the planet Venus came in the 1960s while President Eisenhower was still in office. He and Vice President Nixon put them on Pentagon for 3 years to discuss his proposal. But his mission was turned down by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and the bill was vetoed after Ike tried to get the United Nations to side with them. They still remain stationed around the world in motherships. This is a quote from a book, Stranger at the Pentagon by Frank Stranges. Valiant Thor's last meeting with the president did not reap any lasting results. The president attempted to effect a joint meeting before the General Assembly of the United Nations, but this plan too was rejected. We have dormant and advanced DNA that many don't want us to be in touch with. That is why there is an invasion or attack, which opposes our expansion, unification, and liberation. So this is what we need to focus on. Our soul matrix is directly linked with nature and its regenerative power. And the way to fully activate this is within ourselves, and to understand alchemy and the serpent power of Kundalini. As it raises the lower octave of the reptilian mindset back into the cosmic dragon Kundalini of the Great Mother, which lifts us out of this time loop and prepares us for initiation. Alternative 4, a positive human future. We have abilities beyond our wildest imagination. It is time we recognize the benevolent forceness, the benevolent and vastness of our multidimensional cosmos that we are mirrors of as multidimensional beings. When we take a step up in ourselves in natural response and we are assisted. It's just like how we transform and shift personally when we make healthy perceptions and live from our immune system naturally responds. Earth is an organism and heals in the same way that we do. That is why it's going to take the unification of the human race to deal with the parasites and the invasion. Alternative 4 is about connecting with the timeline and the divine birthright of our incredible human potential as a unified species and as individuals. We need to understand our DNA and how it connects to the stargates on this earth, the zodiac, and the 13th moon calendar. We need to embrace our dark and light and overcome the agenda that seek to conquer and divide us all. During the window period of 2012 to 2017, called the stellar activation cycle, we have a profound opportunity to achieve this. There are natural cycles when the stargates open, called the stellar activation cycle, and the next stellar activation cycle is between 2000 and 2017. The previous was in 22,346 BC. This window period, while the assaults on nature and the frequency manipulation the orbit and journey of Venus draws a perfect pentagram in the sky. Cosmically speaking, the alchemy is happening. Ego is our free will choice. This acts as the tipping point between the lower world and higher worlds and our ability to bridge the two. When the heart and ego become one, this is possible. When we purify the negative ego, we move through the lower astral density and we assist in the purification of the elements on the planet. Our emotional body is linked magnetically to the earth. 0 point is the breaking point beyond which the insanity of the old timeline will no longer be able to survive. The archonic matrix is an imitation of the original creation. It actually doesn't really hold any power over it unless you personally allow it to. Our energy and frequency can be plugged into two things: source energy, or the electronic media, government, new age deceptions, or religious controls that seek to pull one into an artificial world. If we truly know ourselves, we can unfold into our original form, upgrading and restoring our DNA and circuitry, which clears the earth grids and allows one to withstand and integrate the powerful energy streaming in. Rather than be led astray into the dark forces who are trying to pull us into chaotic emotions, toxicity, fear, or unconscious attachments that are unhealthy. Ascension is accreting frequency bands of energy into the personal template. In every moment, we can take a step up, and when we slip, through self-honesty, we can self-correct. When we have this focus, it keeps out the archons and entities. When we understand that the shift is within us and that we are made of all these different aspects of creation, we can find internal harmony and reconcile the wars, duality, and toxicity as we find natural alchemy in aligning with the fifth element of spirit. The earth responds to us. Refuse the controls, be the spirit warrior, and let everything that tries to crush you empower you, as it serves as a reminder of why you came here, which is to become senior to these lower forces and to light the way for others.